How would you describe your relationship with PR Miami Heat guy Tim Donovan?
Complete stranger. Wouldn't know me if I walked right in front of him.
All right. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you're better off that way.
I am, personally, yeah.
I'll ask him, seriously. We'll see what happens, okay? That's all I can do.
Great, yeah, sure.
I can't make you any guarantees. I can't make you any promises other than I'll ask him. But I would say this. In all seriousness, I would not count on it. I would not. I'd be making 9,000 other plans if I were you.
All right, I'll go to sleep this afternoon then.
Like my wife wants to go with her girlfriend, Paige Richmond, who we love dearly in town. We love her father even more, Fred. But they're not going either. I mean, no one's going.
It doesn't sound like she cares to be with you tonight. She wants to go to the game with her friend.
Oh, my wife?
Yeah.
Oh, no, she doesn't care. No, she doesn't care. I mean,
to be with you tonight? Well, you said you'd rather spend time with the family.
To be with me any night. What do you mean just tonight?
She's ready to grab her friend and go to the Heat game and hang out with
She's been with me for 21 years. And by the way, it's not nearly as exciting as people think it is. I'm actually defending Danielle on this one. Because people are like, oh, man, it must be so cool to live with Sid. He seems like he's so much fun, and he's so vibrant and smart and funny.
I don't think that's what they say.
Oh, they say it all the time? And then Danielle's like, that's not him, though. As soon as he leaves the studio, he's dreadfully boring.
Miserable wretch.
Yeah, she's right about that. So given the opportunity to go down to the game with Paige or with me, she'd still want to go with me because she knows the treatment that I would get, and the adulation. And
well, how many tickets do you get? You get 4, right?
As many as I want. Well, I'm
a star. Give her and Paige a couple of tickets. Give me a couple of tickets. I'll go with them.
That's a horrible idea.
Is Paige hot?
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah.
All right.
You already have a girlfriend. You do threesomes?
Oh, yeah.
You do threesomes? Holly don't care. Holly's a filthy animal.
Sometimes.
She'll do it. We'll ask her.
Danielle's interested?
Not my wife.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Calm down, will you? Jesus. By the way, if I had a dime for every guy that asked me that, I'd be a multi-millionaire. But the answer is no, she's not interested.
I figured as much.
No. Maybe if John F. Kennedy Jr. was alive, she loved him, but not you.
Nice hair.
He had very nice hair, yeah.
Very high, nice hair.
Very, very high, nice hair, yes. 888-640-9385. Adam Schefter, Vaughn Martin, Jane Velez Mitchell, Quinn Buckner, Geraldo Rivera, all stopping by today. So if you're on your way to the Hamptons or Fire Island or Jones Beach or the Jersey Shore or the Catskills, wrong place. If you're on your way to the beach for the 80th time this month, this is such a dreadful place to live, Florida. It really is. Make sure you're listening. We got a big show coming up, and we're back right after this. Thank you, Morgan.
That's all I got.
Well, thank you. Oh, so who was that there? Who did we have?
That was a mix of John Gruden, John Madden, and Morgan Freeman.
And funny, they all sounded like Frank Caliendo, amazingly.
Somehow.
Well, Paige Richmond checks in here.
Oh, really?
My wife's a hot friend.
Very nice.
The daughter of the great Fred Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and this is going to be very disappointing news for you, she's going to pass on the threesome, but thanks.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It never hurts to try. You don't know until you
never
try,
know.
Right?
That's right.
Throw it out
there.
right.
That's exactly right. Allison checks in and says, you were right. Robin Meade does, in fact, work mornings on HLN, not CNN.
Well, I don't watch CNN, so I wouldn't see how I would see like a promo for her anyhow.
And she says, unfunny Joy Behar works at Current TV.
All right.
Which is owned by the Arabs, I think. Didn't Al Gore sell that to Al Jazeera for like $80 and 2 American heads?
Ooh.
Al Gore. Well, the question is, as the Yankees get set to start a 3-game set in Tampa against the Rays this weekend, then they got 4 against the Mets. I was supposed to go, but we're not. 2 in Queens, Monday and Tuesday, then 2 in the Bronx on Wednesday and Thursday. First place, New York Yankees. Where can you go enjoy? First place, New York Yankee baseball and a great steak. That's the question.
The only Yankee Stadium's going to be the only place.
Well, you're right. They do have NYY steak in the stadium in the Bronx. I was there for the opening day against the Red Sox. There's going to be 3 of those. They're building one right now in Midtown Manhattan. The second one does exist, and it exists right down here at the Seminole Casino at Coconut Creek, located right here in our own backyard. Corner of 441 and Sample Road. Find the fun you at Seminole Casino, Coconut Creek. More ways to win. Over 2,400 hot slots. Live blackjack, that Stacks Poker Lounge, and more places to dine. Downstairs, I've got about 6,000 feet of retail space, and that includes 3 great restaurants. So Reese's Fine Italian Restaurant, First Street Deli, and like the restaurant in the Bronx, NYY Steak, a premium steakhouse inspired by the most successful baseball franchise in history, featuring dry-aged prime USDA steaks 5-star seafood dishes. The food's great. You're going to love the restaurant. And if you're a Yankee fan, they've got their signature walls. They've got the knives. They've got the plates. It is great lithographs all over the place. Ruth, Mantle, DiMaggio, Berra, Ford, right up to Jeter, Pettit, and Rivera. You're going to love it. First place Yankee baseball and a great steak all under the same roof. The Legends Lounge at NYY Steak. Not a heck of a lot different than Anthony Weiner watching Julie Durda all morning do the weather on Channel 10. My God. Red dress today is.
Not bad.
No.
And I mean, with the other girl, Constance Jones, doing the traffic or whatever.
She's another knockout.
I mean, my God.
Yeah, there's like 4 broads on there, which they should all be doing porn, and that's your Channel 10 news. And then Will Mansell pops up outside of Miami Arena. or on the cold streets of Chicago. Hi, I'm Will Mansell. Anyway, somebody asked me last week, I forgot, it may have been Geraldo at dinner, or Baez or somebody, what would you not vote for Anthony Weiner? And I said, no, I don't care. I mean, what does one thing have to do with the other? I mean, you talk about the great politicians, and of course this is very subjective. Look, LeBron James, that's not subjective, okay? The guy's great, and he's the best basketball player in the world. That is not up for debate. But politicians certainly are. Even if the country was thriving like it was under Bill Clinton, and everybody loves Bill, and people will vote for Hillary even though she's a snake, and this whole Benghazi thing is her fault because they love Bill. They'll still vote for him. But what people don't understand is, while the country was thriving under Bill Clinton, there was a reason for that, and basically it was the wild, wild west, and people were out there doing their mortgage deals and all that stuff, and eventually somebody was going to pay for it. And that poor bastard, George Bush, who's not going to be at any Mensa meeting anytime soon, was next. And while a lot of you think he's evil and he was the worst president ever, you're just dumb. You're stupid. Because everything that Bill Clinton allowed to go on, and while the country was having a ball, literally, playing the sax with Barbra Streisand, the next guy was going to pay. And it was Bush. I mean, look, Bush made a ton of mistakes. Don't get me wrong. A ton of mistakes. But a lot happened to George Bush on his watch that would have happened to anybody. You guys want to make excuses, Barack Obama. Well, listen, he had to take over a real crap storm. You're right, he did. And no matter who was president, whether it was Barack Obama or John McCain, they had a ship that was sinking. Like Michael Ray Richardson, the former great New York Knicks point guard, once said very eloquently, this ship be sinking. Well, guess what? The guy after Clinton was going to have the same garbage.
Wah, wah, wah.
F you. I have a Democrat running my board, which really sucks.
Wah, wah, wah.
But anyway, that's not my point. What is my point? My point is Clinton is morally bankrupt. You all love him. He's good looking. He's fun. He's a great person. And he is. Listen, I spent time with Bill every year at Joe Torre's golf tournament, the Sapin Home Foundation.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I got a great picture up on my wall in my house of me and Clinton playing golf. He was on my radio show. Everything you hear about Bill is true. It's all true. But come on. Guy's sticking cigars up girls' butts. He's banging everything. I mean, this guy he's completely morally bankrupt. He just is. But you don't care because the country thrived. I get it. You don't care how much cocaine Lawrence Taylor does as long as he sacks the quarterback. You don't care how much juice Alex Rodriguez does as long as he hits 45 home runs and the Yankees win. And I get all that. Listen, I didn't care. I mean, I grew up, my 3 favorite players were Strawberry, Lawrence Taylor, and Michael Ray Richardson. You'd have to make 30 Scarface movies to equal what those guys did in a week. So I understand, how we kind of let things go. But the point is, you'll still say Clinton was a great politician, even though he wasn't. He wasn't.
I don't know what the definition for politician is. I just know that the country did pretty well
That's
under
it.
him.
Exactly.
And isn't that the barometer?
Well, no, it's not because
gas prices are low and people are happy.
No, it's not because it's like saying it's like Joe Torre's a great manager when he manages the Yanks because things were going well and he had good players. He was the same guy. He was the same manager in St. Louis when he was Clueless Joe. He was the same manager with the Mets when he was Clueless Joe. Then he went to a team that had the players and things were going well, and he did well. Sometimes it's more about what's going on around you than you. Don't forget, 9/11 happened on George Bush's watch. They tried it on Bill's. 1993, they blew up the World Trade. They blew it up. 6 guys died in the damn parking garage because they didn't get it right that time. But they tried. They tried. If, God forbid, they would have done what they wanted to do and the buildings fell down, how do we look at Bill Clinton today?
He'd have a black eye on his.
Yeah, I would think so. It's not about this, okay? The point is, Anthony Weiner, if you think he's going to be a good politician, whether he shows his dick on the internet or not, doesn't matter to me.
I agree.
If he's going to be a good governor, then you vote for the guy. This idea, I'm not voting for him because of what he did, and the same people that say that will be the same people that would run to vote for Bill Clinton. And that's what I don't understand. I don't get it.
Well, who's looking for integrity from a politician?
People are.
Period. I mean,
they are.
If you think you see any integrity, it's just an act.
Why is there even a debate? I mean, there was a long debate as to whether or not Anthony Weiner should have run.
I think he should. He's got balls.
And we've seen him. Yeah.
Z-Mac.
Now get out, because now you're not going to... You just hit your... That's it. How you going to do better than that?
I'm not. I'm going to leave.
You hate Bill Clinton, don't you?
I actually don't. No. I don't hate George Bush either, though.
But you hate Obama with a fervor, with a passion, with an enthusiasm.
I'm not a fan.
Oh, please.
I voted for him in 2008, though.
How did you possibly? I mean, I
know. I can't. I still.
Could you imagine? I mean, the way you talk about him, it really is. You're over the top.
I have trouble with it myself. I have trouble with it myself. I don't know.
How'd you do it?
I don't know. I got wrapped in that whole George Bush's evil and change and all these slogans that worked.
All the nonsense, right?
Exactly. And then after the first year, you saw it all.
It didn't take you long.
Not at all.
Yeah. All right, 888-640-9385. Big Adam Schefter is going to be here in about 30 minutes. And we'll go back and forth about Brian Urlacher, where he belongs in the hierarchy of all-time great linebackers. He's going to the Hall of Fame. That's not an argument. But where does he belong? Is Brian Urlacher top 15? Is he top 25? Now, that's including outside linebackers, guys like Lawrence Taylor and those types of guys.
I think if you bring outside linebackers into it, he drops tremendously.
Tremendously, yeah. But even if you just include inside linebackers, you'll be surprised. I mean, I went over the list yesterday. He's probably closer to 15 or 20. I mean, if you think guys like Sam Huff and Ray Nitschke and Joe Schmidt and those types of guys were better, and certainly Butkus and Singletary and Junior Seau and Nick Bonacani, if you think all those guys were better, then Urlacher starts to fall rapidly. So we'll talk to Adam Schefter about that. We're also going to talk to Geraldo Rivera at some point. Former Indiana Pacer, now part of the broadcast team, Quinn Buckner, as the Heat get set to host Indiana Game 2 later on tonight. We'll talk to the newest Miami Dolphin defensive tackle Vaughn Martin. And we'll also talk to Jane Velez Mitchell, HLN, about the latest with Jody Arias. So a big show coming up, 888-640-9385. Back on a Holiday Friday right after this. Guests galore start coming your way in about 15 minutes with Adam Schefter. We'll talk to Vaughn Martin of the Dolphins, Quinn Buckner of the Pacers, Jane Velez Mitchell, HLN, Geraldo Rivera, and more. And the little open you heard there included the Ranger win in overtime. Came back from 2-0 and 3-2 deficits. Brian Boyle, the power play goal to tie it. Chris Kreider from Rick Nash in overtime, the winner. They force a Game 5 in Boston tomorrow night. Jody Arias hung jury, and we'll do it again July 18th. So we're not sure yet. She's guilty if she'll spend the rest of her life in prison, or if, like Eric Langell likes to say, if we're going to fry the bitch. And then finally, you heard from both Frank Vogel, head coach of the Indiana Pacers, and Eric Spoelstra, coach of the Heat. Game 2 from the American Airlines Arena in Miami later on tonight. Yeah, Amanda Bynes, man. I mean, geez, that is just a complete disaster. God, what a cute kid. And
she's so cute.
But she had the DUI, and now last night the cops burst into her apartment because she was smoking dope in the lobby of her building on West 47th Street, and then the cops broke in. She threw a bong out of the window from the 34th floor. And they put her back in jail, and then she put this big blonde wig on.
Yeah, I was gonna say that can't be her real hair.
No, that's a wig. No, this Amanda Bynes, a cute kid, and she is. You talk about Lindsay Lohan. I think Bynes is worse. I really do. I think Amanda Bynes may be worse.
Well, Lindsay, they kind of catch her. This girl, she's sitting in the lobby.
Yes, and the superintendent called the cops. Said, this girl's smoking dope downstairs, and she goes upstairs to a 34th floor apartment, throws it out the window. The bong came down.
Yeah.
Now, if you found that bong on the street, because you smoke a lot of weed, you'd love that, right? This is Amanda Bynes'
hopefully
bong.
it wouldn't be broken, hopefully, right? But I mean, if it landed in one piece, absolutely. I mean, this is
every single phone line is lit. I've never seen that before. Have you ever?
I have not either.
Never.
I don't know.
In the 10 months I've been here.
Are we giving away anything?
I don't know what's going on. Here is Jerry in Boynton. Hello, Jerry.
Good morning, Sid. I don't want you to give up on the Rangers' chances because way back when I lived on Long Island, before the Islanders ran that string of 4 straight cups, one of the most exciting seasons was when they went down 3-0 against the Penguins and came back to beat them 4-3. Then they meet the Flyers in the finals, and they go down again 3-0, come back and tie the Flyers 3-3, and lost in the 7th game when Kate Smith went and sang that national anthem.
That's right.
Do you recall that?
I remember all that, Jerry, and it's nice to have a diehard Ranger fan on. With all that said, and you brought up some great Ranger past, I have no confidence this team's going to win 3 straight, but we'll see. Mike from West Kendall, Jeff in Boynton, Gordon in Miami, Dave in Boca. Hold on, because we've got a call here from a very esteemed guest, one of the great talents in this country when it comes to news, and has his own show doing incredibly well on WABC 770 up in New York, in between Imus and Rush Limbaugh, and a television star, and was just here a couple of weeks ago, and we loved having him. It is the great Geraldo Rivera. Good morning, Geraldo.
Sid, we love having you. You got to come back on my show. You're a terrific guest and an excellent sportscaster and an observer of life in a whimsical way that is very, very entertaining.
Wow. Well, that's a promo. Thank you, Geraldo. Coming from you, that means a lot. And I enjoyed myself immensely on your show, and it was cool to hear my friends and family up in New York that listen to you tell me how much fun they had with me on your program. But let me get to you. I know you got your show coming up at 9 o'clock. So tell me this. Let's start with the IRS. How about Lerner? Yesterday, really effectively, I think she got fired, right? I mean, they say she's on leave, but it's fair to assume at this point she's getting fired, yes?
Well, I think that at the very least she'll be, I don't know exactly what the verb is, but she'll be out of that job as well she should be. But more significantly from her point of view, Sid, is that she's facing a possible criminal indictment. That's why she pled the Fifth. She feels she has criminal exposure. The head of the tax exemption division of the IRS now feels that, or her attorneys do, that, she could be going to jail. Speaker Boehner famously said he doesn't want an apology here. He wants to know who's going to jail. And I think that if I were an attorney for Lois Lerner, I'd be worried about that too. That's why she invoked the Fifth. The question is whether or not that stands, because you saw, Sid, first she made a speech before she invoked the Fifth. So I have Alan Dershowitz on my show today, and he's going to say, I know because I've spoken to Professor Dershowitz already, that she waived her right against self-incrimination by making her little speech, and so Congress can't compel her to testify. So they're going to call her back. I think she'll be maybe refuse to testify, absent a grant of immunity. She won't get immunity. They'll get an order that she testifies. She won't testify. They'll issue a contempt citation, and the drama will go on. So.
Wow. Okay, and tell me this, Geraldo, in your, and I mean this, expert opinion, is this the beginning of the domino? Is Lois Lerner going to take the fall here? What else happens with the IRS? What do you think?
Well, the IRS is one thing. Treasury is another. IRS is part of Treasury. It's independent, but it's part of Treasury. Who knew in Treasury? That's an issue that, who knew in Treasury that the IRS was targeting Tea Party and other conservative groups? And then who in Treasury spoke to who in the White House, and how high up the White House food chain does this go? In other words, did this really get to the White House chief of staff? If it got to the chief of staff, isn't it inevitable that he whispered something to the president?
Well, that's my next question to you. For people that don't have the opportunity to hear you every day, which is unfortunate for them, Geraldo, what is your stance on this? Do you believe that the president did in fact know, or are you buying this? I mean, I saw Dave Pfeiffer on with David Gregory on Sunday on Meet the Press, okay? And David Gregory said, aren't you embarrassed that the president found out about this the same way that guys watching television did? And Pfeiffer said, not at all. That's exactly what we want, because that proves, if he saw it on TV, that he had no idea what was going on. Do you buy that?
Well, it seems kind of far-fetched. I mean, I've been generally supportive of the president. I even yesterday I love what he said about closing Guantanamo, the fact that he was still impassioned about that. I loved his defense of drone strikes against, people who, want to hurt the United States. But in terms of this whole, I only found out from reading the newspapers. I mean, it seems far-fetched, and I think that, it's never the crime; it's always the cover-up. I think that they better sooner rather than later. They better come clean. Otherwise, this could be a cancer on the presidency, and nobody wants to see that kind of mess again.
Right. And I know you talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but, you watch those Sunday shows, Geraldo, you listen to guys like you, and this whole Benghazi thing is still out there, obviously, and you're hearing things. This Benghazi thing, some say, and I think they're probably exaggerating, some say it's a bigger cover-up, it's bigger than Watergate, it's bigger than Iran-Contra. I'm going to draw the line there, Geraldo, but how big is it?
I don't think that, the heart of Watergate, remember, was a burglary where a political party helped engineer an actual crime, a physical break-in of the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the heat of a presidential election. I mean, that was the heart of Watergate. That was a crime at the heart of Watergate. You don't have a crime at the heart of this. So it's not what they did. It's how they lied about what they did. You could arguably say that what the IRS did was, if you stretch it, legal or unadvisable but not criminal. I don't think there's a crime at the end of it, but where the crime comes in is you testify before one congressional committee and you say one thing under oath, and then you testify before another, right, and you say say something else. That's perjury, and it's always the perjury that gets them.
All right, two more. I know you're in a hurry here. Quickly, tell me, will you spend time on your program today talking about the hung jury, the mistrial with Jodi Arias?
Well, I have to say that, let me, first of all, maybe make some news here. That I am deeply, deeply distressed by Nancy Grace at Headline News cheerleading for the death penalty. I mean, it's bizarre to me. It's so distasteful. Here she is.
But hold on, Geraldo, but this is entirely predictable. You know Nancy well. She's been doing this, whether it's Casey Anthony or whoever it is, for years.
But this is, what is she? She's the executioner in chief now? I think it's really disgusting. It's, how low can you go? I mean, she wants to, I could see Nancy Grace, she's going to be the person in charge of waterboarding next. It's almost like if I see a case on TV and Nancy Grace is on one side, I've got to be on the other side because I know how, this is the Iron Maiden from the Old Testament. I mean, it's very, very distasteful. And she's a lawyer too. I mean, that's pathetic.
I know. I can't argue it, but that's why people watch it, because they can't believe what the hell. Okay, on the way out, Geraldo, another natural disaster. I know you've done so much with all this stuff throughout the years, Geraldo, on scene, on site, with all these disasters, and what we saw in Oklahoma this week with those tornadoes was just heart-wrenching, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, you name it. What do you think? How do you think we've done here, helping these people out since what happened a couple of days ago?
Well, I think the relief effort's been pretty good, Sid. But I tell you, after Sandy Hook, after the massacre, all those kids got killed in Connecticut. I endorsed actually, I said it first, and the NRA kind of endorsed me. I want one person with a gun at every school. Period. It could be the gym teacher. It could be some public safety officer. It could be an off-duty cop. It could be a beat cop. But there should be one person with a gun wherever these children. We should have children protected with the same way we protect our money, at least as good as we protect our money. The other thing is, if you live in Oklahoma, and you had the two of these Category 5 tornadoes in the last 14 years, killer tornadoes, the same exact, almost, give or take a couple of 100 yards, the thing comes cleaving through. Why in the world don't they have mandatory storm shelters in every one of these schools?
Agreed.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. If I was in charge of the municipal government there, I would mandate, if you can afford a home, you can afford a damn cinder block storm shelter with a metal door on top of it. And certainly in a school, you have all these children gathered. You must be able to protect these children against what is not only a an aberrant force of nature, but is something that on a regular basis historically comes right down through this same area for whatever the geological reasons are or the meteorological reasons. I don't know, but for God's sakes, once it happens once in human history, or now it's this is 3 times, 4 times, 5 times in the last generation. I mean, it's enough already. You got to have mandatory storm shelters, period.
I couldn't agree with you more. You're brilliant. You're great. I know you're going to start your own show in about 30 minutes. So the fact that you called in and gave me a couple of minutes, Geraldo, is great. Have a wonderful holiday weekend, and we love you, pal. Thank you so much.
All right, same here. Bye.
You got it. Take care. Geraldo Rivera, who's, he's brilliant is what he is. And, by the way, I agree with everything he said today. Everything. Even the part where he said he couldn't stand you, Eric.
Well, yeah, of course.
Came out of nowhere. Here's Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. How's everything going?
Good. How are you?
You know, when I speak to you, it's the real McCoy, and I wanted to talk about the last play of the Heat game, and I also want to talk a little about the Rangers.
Sure.
What would you have done with Roy Hibbert on that last play of the game? It was very simple and very fundamental, and nobody's talked about it.
And what is it? Where are you going with this?
He's the tallest guy in the court. I would have had him guard the inbound passer. Very simple.
Yeah, you could have done that and made the inbound pass even more difficult. Then the problem becomes, though, once LeBron gets the ball, then you still have no inside presence. But that makes sense. That makes sense.
But what I'm saying, here's a 7'2" guy. He's going to make you maybe throw the ball more towards the back court.
Not crazy. Listen,
So
Jeff,
that's
that's not crazy. Listen, any way you look at it, whether he's guarding the inbound pass or standing at the box, so LeBron for the second consecutive possession can't take an uncontested layup. Any way you look at it, your scenario or the other one, he's got to be on the court.
Right. Now, here's something interesting with the Rangers. I think the Rangers are a very average to below average team, and Lundqvist is unbelievable. He's the reason that they've gone this far.
Well, listen. They are not average. They are not below average. They're a talented team. They're not the best team. They're not overly talented. They don't have the most talent in the league. But I agree that they're not overly talented, and whatever success they have is because of Lundqvist.
Now, going forward with this series, doesn't the Bruin goalie look shaky?
Well, he is shaky. I mean, this is not Tim Thomas where he won the Vezina and the Conn Smythe a couple of years ago. Rask has gotten better and better and better, but I still think you're asking a lot to beat this guy 3 times in a row. Mike in West Kendall, what's going on, Michael?
Well, Sid, good morning. I'll try and condense this. If I hear one more person talk about what Coach Vogel did or basketball, thank God you're more diverse than that. And you don't have to listen to that every 10 minutes. I mean, it's kind of move on already. And incidentally, you were talking about Clinton and Bush. Clinton left a stain on Monica Lewinsky. The other two, Bush and Cheney, left a stain on the country. It's worse.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you obviously don't own stock in Halliburton like Eric Langell does.
I certainly don't, but it would be interesting to know what Cheney's net worth was before and after he was involved in Halliburton.
No doubt. Listen, everybody knows that he did very, very well. Very well.
Incidentally, Sid, I understand Anthony Weiner's campaign slogan is send another hot dog back to Congress.
There he is, right before the holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend. He's become our guy. He's become our Jon Stewart. We don't need Jon Stewart on the Sid Rosenberg Show. We've got Michael from West Kendall. Dave, the Ranger fan. Hello, Dave.
Hey, I'm in your neck of the woods throwing frisbees to my dog at Meisner Bar and all the Japs. Anyway, I got mixed feelings. If this Ranger fan wants Tortorella gone, I don't know about you. The one
I don't love him.
Guys, I've been watching Ranger fan. We have the same feeling. We're tired of his crap, and we're just of course I wasn't rooting for the sweep. I'm an old time Blue Seer, and I just have. I also have mixed emotions on the Richards thing. I'm a Richards fan, but I'm not a fan of him playing 5 minutes a game either.
Well, but listen, he has. I don't know why, Dave. You have this propensity as a very good and bright Ranger caller, and I want more of you guys to call in with the same crappy phone every single time. It never works. Never. Yeah, listen, Richards is making way too much money that if he can't contribute on the first or second line, it's going to be a disappointment, but that shouldn't be the issue. You know, it doesn't matter how much money you're making. When you're down 3-1 and your ass is on the line every face-off, if he could help, whether he's a first-line player at this point, a second-line player, or a fourth-line player, you got to get him in here. My fear is that the Rangers say, we're paying Brad Richards to be a first or second-line player. He's not that good anymore. That doesn't matter to me. You know, what you're paying him. If you made the stupid mistake of overpaying the guy, that's on you. But if he helps the team win, he's got to skate. And I guess the Rangers team at this point, you can't even do that. 1 goal in 10 playoff games. We'll take a short break. Lots of NFL news this week. Brian Urlacher called it quits with the Bears. Michael Crabtree is out with San Francisco. Mark Sanchez, a couple of brutal practices. And what's going on with Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks with the Giants? We talk to the best in the business, ESPN's Adam Schefter, right after this. I got to talk about Mike Lang before I talk to Adam Schefter. He's my dear, dear friend. And, of course, down here in South Florida, air conditioning is a necessity, not a luxury. It's going to hit 92 degrees today. My God. And the real summer's not even here yet. I mean, take advantage right now of Rheem preseason pricing. Buy now and save later with great deals on new high-efficiency Rheem units. Air around the clock has custom-tailored financing to meet your individual needs. Rheem has high-efficiency units with the highest energy savings, and FPL offers rebates up to $2,100 on qualifying models. Also, units are available that qualify for the federal tax credit. That's another $500. So don't wait. Air around the clock has over 100 trucks. Someone's always available to serve you. They've got 24-hour service, 7 days a week. And ask about the 1995 service special. Danielle and I have it, and we love it. 1-800-741-1033, 1-800-741-1033. See dealer for details on all offers. My dear friend Mike Lang, they're all great guys. Chippy and Scotty and Lenny, they are Air Around the Clock. And Rheem, there for you yesterday, here for you today, and planning for your tomorrow.
640's own Sid Rosenberg Show is on the air.
640 Sports.
I thought about it for a long time now. You know, it's been since January I thought about it, and just the last a month ago, I was ready to do it then. I just gave it another month to make sure I didn't want to change my mind, but it really wasn't that hard of a decision, I'll tell you the truth. My agent messed with that. I don't know how much what there was out there. Honestly, to tell you the truth, the Bears offered me a contract. I'm sure if I was sat around and waited something during training camp, but I didn't want to do that. You know, and honestly, I didn't want to play for anybody else. You know, it would have to be a great deal for me to go somewhere else, and I didn't want to put someone else's jersey on. To tell you the truth. Just like I said, when it all went down, you know, the way it did, I felt a ton of respect for the Bears. Didn't work out the way I wanted it to, you know, but, you know, I played 13 years for one of the best franchises in NFL history. I'm very proud of that, and I'm happy I'll never wear another jersey.
Oh, goodbye to you, baby. Goodbye. Brian Urlacher calls it quits after 13 years. Where does Brian Urlacher belong? He's a Hall of Famer, we know that. In the hierarchy of all-time greats. Is he just the third best linebacker in his own team's history, behind guys like Dick Butkus and Mike Singletary? We'll talk to the best information man in the business, my dear friend Adam Schefter, right now. Hey, Shep, what's going on, pal?
Hello there, Sid. How you doing?
I'm great. Happy Memorial Day weekend. You going anywhere special? I doubt it. You're probably working all weekend, right?
No, I'm not really. Yeah, there. I think the start of the summer season is nice for everybody, just kind of hanging out with the family.
Nice. Well, that's always good. In fact, a lot of your friends from New York, Paige, and all the friends that know you and your wife are actually coming down here this weekend. So your ears should be ringing this weekend once again, Adam Schefter. But tell me here about Urlacher. I asked you the other day, and without any hesitation, you said, you know, of course he's a Hall of Famer. What do you think? You know, you start talking about middle linebackers, not Lawrence Taylor, but guys like Butkus and Nitschke and Joe Schmidt and Sam Huff, Ray Lewis, obviously. Where do you think Urlacher belongs when you talk about the all-time greats?
I don't know that he's in the top tier of the all-time greats. I mean, I think he's one of the greats, but I think there are other linebackers. Are we talking just inside linebackers? Are we talking linebackers? What are we talking?
I think you got to keep it to inside. I know there's not a lot of 4-3s anymore, but I think you got to keep it to inside. I don't think it's fair to compare Brian Urlacher to Lawrence Taylor or Ricky Jackson.
No, I don't think so. I think, but I'll say this: Ray Lewis, to me, I think Ray Lewis was the best defensive player I saw. I know people will argue for Lawrence Taylor, who made more dynamic plays and was more of a playmaker. But Ray Lewis, just watching that guy and what he did for that franchise, to me, is in a class by himself. That's me.
Wow. So if you were this is amazing because I would never go there. I clearly have him as the greatest middle linebacker ever. There's not even a debate here. But in your estimation, Shep, you think Ray Lewis is the greatest defensive player to ever play the game?
Yeah, no, let me say this. I think he's the greatest defensive player I've watched.
Wow.
I've watched. Okay? I mean, who are the greatest defensive players ever that we consider? I guess people talk about Lawrence Taylor. They talk about Reggie White. Talking about Dick Butkus. I don't want to embarrass you, so I'm sure I'm forgetting 3-4 key great names.
Well, I mean, you'd have to go to even guys like Deacon Jones and Bruce Smith and Ray Nitschke and all those great linebackers. But I mean, if you're starting with Ray Lewis, I'm not even talking about defensive backs. We're not even talking about the Woodsons and those types of Krauses. But if you're starting right there with Ray Lewis, but we know that Urlacher wasn't as good as Ray Lewis. But would you consider Urlacher then a second tier, like top 15 to 20 linebacker, or probably top 30 to 40 all time on defense?
Yeah, I think that's what top 25 linebacker. Yes, I think that's what we're talking about. I think he's a Hall of Fame linebacker. I don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Fame linebacker.
No.
Let me say this to you, and and people overlook this, but the truth of the matter is, Lance Briggs has been as effective as he is. In recent years.
Yeah, it's true.
And he gets overlooked because of the presence and the name of Brian Urlacher. But Lance Briggs has meant as much to that Bears defense in recent years as Brian Urlacher. He's been healthier.
And by the way, when you look at the Bears defense, it wasn't like, look, not everybody's going to be the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens, I get it, but they were never statistical leaders in the NFL. And even in the playoff games, even the year they went to the Super Bowl, mind you, and they did a decent job on Peyton Manning in the rain, the Colts rushed for nearly 200 yards that day. And throughout those playoffs, they got beat up by teams like Seattle. So there's not even like a defining moment. I mean, Urlacher's best game ever was that Monday night comeback when he had 25 tackles, but that was against Matt Leinart and a 5-11 Arizona Cardinal team.
And that's why I have him in my top 25 or so, not amongst the top 5.
Right. It's true. He's not.
That's why I think he's a Hall of Fame linebacker. He's been a great player. I hope I'm not diminishing his name or his legacy by saying it, but I just don't view him as one of those all-time greats.
Yeah, I agree.
To me, he goes into the Hall of Fame. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was a great linebacker. But, again, there are other linebackers, to me, that had greater careers.
Yeah, agreed. A little hype here, too. So, basically, there was no other deals. He says he didn't want to wear another jersey, which is great. When you look at the guys like Marino and Kelly and the store-back guys, even Bill Sims, who almost went to Cleveland, never changed teams. But was this really, you think, the motivation that he wanted to retire or bear, or there was pretty much nobody out there that wanted to pay him?
I think a little bit of both. Listen, somebody I know ran into Brian Urlacher playing golf about 2 weeks ago, and Brian was saying to my friend about how great this is, doesn't have to worry about getting ready for camp, really enjoying this. And I think there's definitely an element of truth to that. I think it's convenient to say, yeah, it's great to have one team on your resume that you only play for. But the truth of the matter is, I'll just say this to you. If, let's just say, the Denver Broncos came along and offered Brian Urlacher a 1-year, $5 million deal, do you think that he'd still be retired right now?
He'd be having lunch with Peyton Manning in Boulder right now.
That's what I believe. I don't know that, but that's what I believe.
Yeah, no, there's no question.
There was not a team willing to pay him at the level at which he had been paid in the past. And when you have had the career that he's had, and you've had some of the injuries he's had, and you're enjoying life on the golf course, and you're living in Arizona, and you don't have to train, and there's no team that's ringing your bell for your price.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say, I'm done.
Yep. Well, he is done. Now Crabtree's not done. It's a good thing the 49ers picked up Anquan Boldin here in the offseason from Baltimore because he kind of steps in. But Crabtree still caught 85 passes last year, still caught 9 touchdowns last year. It looked like he was on his way now to becoming a big-time guy. He's out for at least 6 months. Do you think, I know Moss isn't there now, at least at this point for this year. Do you think Harbaugh brings in another wide receiver, or do you think with Boldin and the young guys and Vernon Davis are going to be okay?
Well, a few things here. Number one, Someone in that organization high up said to me the other day when I asked if they're going to bring in another receiver, the text back to me was, quote, unquote, I doubt it. So I'm not going to tell you that they're not going to, because these things evolve and change over time, and it could be that they get to camp in July and they say, you know what, there's a receiver out there that could help us. Let's go sign this guy up the street. But I think they're looking at their young receivers right now, and they're saying, okay, we got Anquan Bolden, we got A.J. Jenkins, we got Quentin Patton, who we drafted here. We've got Mario Manningham and Kyle Williams coming off ACL injuries. Hopefully one of those guys can get back, if not both. I think that they probably say, let's go about it in that regard and get these guys that we have here a chance, and they're better than the guys that we can sign off the street right now. Now, saying that, if you go back to last year and you look at the 49ers' top targets of the year, the players they threw the most to, 3 of their top 4 targets were, in order, Michael Crabtree, gone. Delaney Walker, the tight end, gone to Tennessee in free agency. Randy Moss, gone, retired, not bringing him back, whatever you want to call it. 3 of the 4 players that the 49ers quarterbacks targeted most last year, with Vernon Davis being the only one that is not in that category that is back, are not going to be playing this year, basically. So now that means tougher coverage for Vernon Davis. It's going to be harder to get in the ball. That means that you really don't have many other receivers that have contributed to this team in the past in any kind of meaningful way, that are healthy, at the very least. And it's going to be, I think, a major adjustment and put a lot more pressure on Colin Kaepernick.
Well, but now we're going to find out. I mean, I'm not going to be stupid enough to compare Colin Kaepernick to Peyton Manning. That would just be stupid. But the fact is, whether it was Marvin Harrison one year or Austin Collie the next, Peyton found a way to make it work. And if Colin is as good as we think he is and is further along, I mean, he went to a Super Bowl already, maybe it's not going to matter all that much.
Yeah, but they're entirely different kinds of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that in the Super Bowl, I think the Ravens displayed an effective game plan that teams will deploy. We'll see how much success they have.
I don't think so. I don't think so. The Niners could have scored 50 points.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
You're going to see Colin Kaepernick take a lot more shots this year. I'll just tell you that. The Ravens' plan was to hit him every time there was a running play, the shotgun, the pistol, okay? And he took a lot of blows in that Super Bowl. And I'm telling you that defenses are going to do the same thing this year. Now, we'll see how much success they have.
Right. I mean, they can know it's. I mean, look. Let's face it. You know, Frank Vogel has Roy Hibbert in the game. The Pacers probably win the first game. If Jim Harbaugh's guys do better play calling, we're talking about Kaepernick being a Super Bowl champ here, coming back from a huge deficit and scoring at will against the Ravens in the second half.
All I'm saying is that they continually hit Colin Kaepernick.
Okay.
Hit him. Okay. And he's going to get a lot of that this year.
Well, let me ask you this, then, because that's interesting, because if you're right about that, what do they do with RG3? I mean, his father came out yesterday and basically implored the Redskins, don't let my kid run with the ball. Let him throw the ball. He's got a great arm. He's going to get killed out there. RG3 came out, defended his dad, and said, listen, my dad loves me. What do you expect him to say? But how much different do you think Shanahan and the Redskins will be with RG3 this year?
By the way, RG3, these are not the best of times for him. You got your dad coming out defending you. You got your wedding registry. I mean, really, come on now. I mean, what does this look like? He doesn't exactly look like the model of toughness this offseason, does he?
Right. But he's right. But the father's right. It doesn't look all that good, but the father happens to be right. They got to figure out a way not to get this guy killed.
If you don't think they figured out that they're going to tailor the offense and protect him more, I mean, you're out of your mind. Yeah. Of course they have to do that.
Yeah.
They must protect him more.
Right.
I don't think that. I don't think the Shanahans need RG3's dad to weigh in on that. No. Sid, okay?
Yeah.
Ava and Gabe know that they got to protect RG3 more, okay?
You're right, they do. You are right. Yep. Hey, well, talking about wide receivers, I have to ask you, because we were talking about, obviously, what's going on in San Francisco. I saw that Hakeem Nicks decided not to participate with the Giants, and I think a lot of Giant fans still have no idea what's going on with Victor Cruz. So what's going on with Nicks and Cruz with the Giants?
Well, what's interesting here is I really believe that there's a certain degree of the two situations being connected to one another. And people wouldn't necessarily think that, but Nick is headed into the last year of his contract. Cruz is basically without a contract. Cruz has to sign. He has no choice but to sign a long-term deal, okay? And the Giants, let's just use the number $8 million and say the Giants are offering him $8 million. I don't know what the exact offer is, but I guarantee you I'm not far from the offer, okay? It'll be somewhere in that $8 million range if I know this league. So let's say they're offering him $8 million, and you're Victor Cruz, and your restricted free agent tender is $2,879. Are you going to go play this year for $2,879, or are you going to go sign that long-term deal for $8, take a chance, and go out there? You have to sign a long-term deal. The Giants, I think, know that. So now, if you can get Victor Cruz at a relatively friendly price, an $8 million price, and I don't know if that's the number, using that number, $8 million price is still more than Wes Welker's making in a slot for the Denver Broncos. So, to me, it sounds like a pretty good number. But if you get Victor Cruz at 8, then you could say to Hakeem Nicks, well, we got a guy taking 8. You should be taking 8.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Each guy's going to want more, undoubtedly. But the idea is to get the first guy to take a deal at the lowest possible number so that they have that number on the second guy. Now, Nick's contract is up after this year. He can leave as a free agent if he wants. They can always tag him if they want. Franchise number for a wide receiver, I don't remember. Maybe it'll be $9 million next year. But I think there's a element of the two deals being connected. Both guys clearly want new deals. Both guys have different paths. The Giants would like to keep both in a perfect world. Could be difficult to do. Not impossible, difficult. They're trying to figure out a way to make it happen. And so that's, to me, what you're looking at with those guys.
Yeah, no, you think you nailed it. I think you're right. It's a kind of a two-way deal. Last one, and you got to run here in about a minute, Adam. Already reports out of New York already. I mean, we're not even to freaking July yet that Mark Sanchez looks bad. He threw 3 picks the first day in minicamp. Rex Ryan is disappointed in his quarterback already, which makes John Idzik happy because that's just another reason to play Geno Smith. How ugly is this going to get for Mark Sanchez? This poor guy can't get through day one.
Well, clarify something for me, Sid. Were they saying that Mark Sanchez looked terrible with the headband or on the football field? Which one?
I think they even remarked on both. That's how bad it's gotten for Mark.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we got that straightened out. I didn't want to answer the incorrect.
I mean, does he actually think that by changing his appearance, all of a sudden he's going to come in and play like Namath and not Mark Sanchez?
Well, those headbands to me are. I mean, I guess more and more people, Sanchez and RG3, are wearing them.
Yeah. Good luck.
I guess I don't have enough hair to wear one of those. Maybe if I did, maybe I would be wearing one. But look, Sanchez has got to play better. He knows that. We all know that. He can't throw turnovers. I think they're looking for a reason to go with somebody else. If Geno can play well, they'd like to go in that direction. But just keep this in mind. I remember speaking to a lot of people around the league before the draft. And it doesn't make them right, but it seemed to be that the prevailing opinion was that none of the quarterbacks in this year's draft class are ready and able to step in right away like last year's rookies and contribute. That doesn't mean it can't happen. It doesn't mean it won't happen. I'm just telling you there was a healthy amount of skepticism around the league that it would happen. That's all.
Yeah, I could see that. No question. The Bills took the care of the Florida State. He's not ready. And I can see Geno not being ready. But you are ready because you're the best in the business. And I want you to have a wonderful holiday weekend. And I know you're always busy. And to make time for me, I always appreciate it. I love you.
Well, I appreciate you, Sid. Have a great holiday weekend. And we will speak to you soon.
All right. Take care. There he is, ESPN's Adam Schefter. There is nobody better. We'll take a short break. When we get back, well, we did a whole bunch of stuff here. We've talked about the Rangers and the Heat and the Pacers, and Sheffy just did football. But one of the things the whole country is talking about is Jodi Arias, a mistrial, a hung jury. We go to the star of Headline News alongside Nancy Grace. She's been talking about this every day. Jane Velez Mitchell of Headline News